Okay, thank you so much for being here and having a chat with me. Can you
Emily.
start with telling us your name and your role in Sleepy the Magic Bear, please?
I certainly can. My name's Isaac, and I've been working with David on the Sleepy film for about eight months now, or probably
Right.
6 or 7 months. And I started modelling, 3D modelling, and now that's kind of evolved into animating, modelling,
Okay.
like putting a couple of bits of video together, but mainly just kind of head of 3D and animation, basically.
Okay, wonderful. So I know nothing about animation. So just
Okay.
talk to me a bit about so modeling, when you say modeling, it doesn't mean you stand there and you go, take a picture. When you say modeling, what do you mean?
So basically creating objects. So everything can be created in 3D space on a computer. So you'd have it's just basically just creation. It's like drawing but in 3D. And then you've got
Okay.
different aspects to it. So it's got to conform in a certain way, and it's like imagine loads of points on an object. So you've got to move these points around to create the shape, and these points have got to be in the optimal position to be animated as well. So and then animation, I'm sure you know, is just frame by frame of picture. So
Yeah.
once you have the object, you can render it. It's called rendering, where you take a picture of it. It's like a studio basically. It's just like on the studio on a computer, and you can have
Yeah.
objects in there, move stuff around, shine a light from over here, shine a light from over there, and create different scenes.
Okay.
Um, it's you can do anything. You can do anything.
So
Anything.
from the beginning then, so do you if do you work on a particular character? So are you working on like the car or something or Sleepy?
I don't know, all everything at the moment. So I've started with the funfair scene, which
Okay.
was going to be all in 3D, which was
Hmm.
going to be great. So I started with that, modelling a roller coaster and some dodgems and a log flume and a kiosk. So all of that, and then you do the environment, like the grass and the path, some lamppost. It's like really creating this 3D environment. So I started with that, and then I've had different stuff from David, like I don't want to say too much, but like giraffes
Yeah.
and animals and
Amazing.
food.
Oh,
There's
really?
lots of different scenes. I've worked on the car a bit as well, but yeah, lots of different scenes, and there's lots of exciting things, lots of new things.
Yeah.
Uh,
That you haven't done before.
exactly. That's
Oh,
stuff I wouldn't
right.
normally do, but then I've done it, and I'm like, it's pretty fun. So.
Oh, that's good. But
Yeah.
so how do you then do you draw or are you like using a software? Like what are you
So there's you can use a 3D software. So I use just a free software called Blender,
okay.
which is open source, and it's all free to the public. But there's you can go to university and study these programs that cost thousands of pounds, like AutoCAD and those Cinema 3D or something like that, and they cost a lot, um, but they can do all the same thing really. It's just different way of doing it, but they all do the same thing. It's all just software
Oh, it's all
basically.
software. So you never
Yeah.
draw anything really by hand.
No. I have a little tablet that I can use if I do want to do I could do a line or something that I want
Yeah.
a certain line. But yeah, I could draw on that as well. But mainly it's just
Nice.
moving around 3D space and moving bits over here and creating objects and rendering them, and that's it really.
So what's been your favorite kind of either like scene or like
Mm.
particular things that you had to work on so far in the project?
Uh, it was the fun fair, maybe a couple of
Okay.
weeks ago. I would say it was the fun fair.
Yeah.
That was the biggest scene. Putting everything together and then seeing it come together was the best thing, like just the grass.
Mm,
For example, I had green grass in the fun fair,
yeah.
green grass, and that wasn't enough for David. He wants pink grass.
Of course.
It's stuff like that, and it looks real. It looks realistic.
Pink grass.
Grass,
Wow.
so that was exciting. But after that, just recently modelled giraffe and a piano.
Really?
And yeah, put those two together, and you've got a giraffe playing a piano.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, cool. Yeah, you'll see it, but it's cool.
I can't wait to see
It's
it.
pretty strange, but it's
Wow. Like what with its like head playing the
no.
piano?
I've put it as back legs are sitting down, and it's just playing with its front legs basically.
Oh, how
Heads
clever.
up. Yeah,
So when you're doing that, do you get like a picture? So would you get a picture of a piano and like just work off that or a giraffe?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'd have lots of references. Sometimes you can get, top shots or side shots, and you can
Okay.
almost kind of copy the size of it, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need references for all of that, otherwise it'll look a bit strange.
Sounds
Uh,
so fun.
it is. Yeah, you'll see it. I assume.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. Actually, I'm very
Yeah.
excited about it all. So how talk about a bit about Isaac, about your background. So have you always been an animator or were you?
No, actually, I haven't. I did study like creative and media. This was at school actually, and then I didn't pursue it going into college, and I didn't go to uni. But actually, my real spark came when I started using Photoshop. Maybe a couple of years ago, I started editing photos, and then I discovered a 3D version area of Photoshop, and then I delved deep into this free Blender software, and just can do everything. Can do anything. So that really appeals to me.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
I'm able to create things and create anything. I could create intros, outros, videos, music videos, logos, adverts. So it's
Oh, wow.
designs, phones. I don't know. So it's just everything's there, and I think it's a really good skill to have. Like I could create anything and then take a picture of it. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
amazing.
That just really appeals to me. I think I've always been quite a tech
Mm,
techie guy.
mm.
All with it, I guess. I'm human.
It's
Um,
amazing though, isn't it? Because you kind of, or you almost kind of fell into it, like in a way. Do you know what I mean? You kind of found like for example, I've since I was 4, I've known I'm good. I wanted to sing, so
yeah,
like I didn't know exactly how I was going to get there or what I was going to or what singing I wanted to do, but I always knew that I would. So I think it's so amazing when like, and that's what I say to children. I teach kids, and I'm like, it's okay if you don't really know what you want to do straight away. You can kind of find your way. And again, like you've taught yourself, haven't you? Really,
and
you've taught yourself how, yeah, which is amazing as well. I think when you can kind of teach yourself something rather than, everyone's got their own way of doing it. Some people go and study it, and some people have as musicians and singers have not trained and have
yeah,
kind of found their way into it. So I think it's so fascinating. And for me, listening to like animators talk, it's such a different world to me. So I find it fascinating because I can only draw stick men and women. I'm awful at drawing, right? So when someone's, I'm really bad, and it's really funny because one of my students, I teach piano, one of my students went, "What?" She couldn't understand. She was like, "You can only draw stick men and women." I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "But how? You play the piano?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I just can't draw." And she can understand how I can be creative in like one section, but like
yeah,
in one section, I can't. I'm really not creative, and she
yeah.
couldn't understand it. And I was trying to like say, look, someone, people can be creative in one section, in another not so. That's just life, and it's okay.
I feel the same. Well, I can't really draw. I mean, I can move a pen and make some lines, but I can't draw like good. But I can
Yeah, I
create
bet you are.
objects. I can create these amazing, crazy objects and everything. And
That's
it's
amazing. How have you
yeah.
found your time on this project? Has this been your first? Is this your first kind of big project, or have you done lots before?
No, no, it is the first big project. Mainly before this, I've just been doing like daily random renders of like
Mm.
background, a piece of fruit or a
Oh,
bowl.
really?
I've never,
Okay.
and I've done like loads of tutorials, paid for a few courses online. And then this involves like environments as well. So it's putting all of that into it, and then actually using it practically and creating this.
Ah.
Uh,
Mm.
I've definitely found that it's a bit different because you're working with other teams and other people. So that's a really good experience for me, just to be able to send this stuff to someone else and make sure it's good for them to use.
Mm.
That's been interesting, working with other people in that respect. But yeah, it's the first big project, and hopefully to be.
Congratulations. Like it's my big, it's my I'm the same, which is quite a lot of people's first in terms of doing stuff, which I think is fabulous that David's given us this opportunity, and also to feel like we can contribute to this pandemic in a way that we can use our skills. Because I know first in March when it all happened, I was like, well, how can I use my skills like to contribute to this pandemic when I'm creative? So it's really nice that something came along and I was able to kind of do that. So I think for a lot of people, it's the first time I've written songs for myself, but I've never written songs for anybody else. So, or a client, I suppose. So having David kind of like, say, I did a test first of all to see if like he liked my style, because sometimes it's not right, and that's just the way it goes for that person. But it happened to be right, and I happened to see the sleepy world, maybe because I'm a child inside myself. But it's really nice to have been able to and like meet other people where it's their first as well.
Okay.
How have you enjoyed it, like this project?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's just pushed me, pushed me. Especially working with David.
Mm,
He got some. Well, he wrote all the books. He's got some crazy ideas, and
mm.
I would come up with one thing, like just a normal roller coaster, and then he would be like, "Oh, let's try this," and then just make it all colourful and glowing, and it's not stuff I'd normally do, and it just pushes out of it. So I've really enjoyed kind of that aspect, and just getting
Mm,
what it's like to work on a big, proper film. So uh,
yeah, definitely. Is that what you is like what is your I have my ultimate like aim and dream. What is your ultimate like aim and dream? What would you love to work on and do?
um, I
Is
like
it
doing
film?
something.
Would you like to work on film maybe? Or...
I don't. I can't see myself working on film for the rest of my life. No, no. I think more kind of independent. So
Okay.
I'd have these nice projects, and yeah, if it's a film I'm interested in, like this, which I'm
Yeah.
interested, in, I'll do. But mainly, I'd prefer just to use these skills for myself in terms of my own business. Uh,
Okay. That's
Maybe
interesting.
teach someone else.
Oh, nice.
See how help them, and they can work for me for a bit, and I can teach them, and that would be fun. So mainly for my own business, I think I want
Your
to.
own business.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know what it is yet, but
Yeah, it will come to you. It will come to you.
studio maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It will. It's funny because I never saw myself teaching piano,
Mm,
and then it like kind of come through like different ways and means, So it will come to you if you have an idea what you want to do. It just hasn't come yet, but it will come when it's ready. That's what I
yeah,
believe. Yeah, it's funny,
I'm
isn't
just
it?
I'm just happy. Just happy I'm where I am now. I think like having
Mm,
I think it's been a hard year and a half for everyone, and it's been
definitely.
it's been very negative, but there's also been some positive.
Yeah, that's what's been great about this.
There are,
It's been
yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. Um do you have like an animator or a favorite film that you love that uses all animation, or do you have anything like that?
Yeah, there was this. You've probably not heard of it, but I think it was done 80s or maybe in 70s. It's called Akira. It's very well known, hand drawn
Okay.
Japanese uh, Japanese art style film. Lots of films that kind of use bits of it and that kind of stuff. It's quite weird, but maybe a bit scary. But it's all hand drawn. Every frame is hand drawn
Oh
and stuck
wow.
together. So it's got this really unique look. But it's definitely worth a watch because lots of
Okay.
anime
What's
kind
it
of
called again?
Akira, Akira.
Okay, I'll check it out definitely because I love anime.
Okay. Oh, if you love anime, you should watch this. You should
Yeah.
be sure about this.
Uh, Castle on
Yeah,
yeah,
Castle.
on a hill or cloud or something.
Yeah, who's the director of that? I can't.
Oh, really famous. I can't remember his name, but I love it. I think, and I love their music as well. It's one thing
Yeah,
that gets me, like their Japanese music, the way they can be really dark and then is beautiful. And
yeah,
I love their anime, like yeah, because they hand draw still, don't they? In their
yeah,
anime.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
most of them are done in they're put into like comics, aren't they? First, and they're like
Oh yes.
conceptualized into a comic, and then the whole comic has to be done, and then it's created into a film. That's what I remember, but it's a really interesting kind of workflow.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah.
And has there, because we have had a crazy year, has there been any kind of challenges for you in terms of how COVID? I know this has been your first project, but in terms of COVID and like having to only speak to people on the phone, not meeting anyone face to face, has that been like, has there been any challenges like that working on this project due to COVID? Or any other or not even just due to COVID, any other challenges that have kind of arisen? Anything? Or has it just been smooth sailing? If it's all been smooth sailing, that's wicked. you
Not
know.
so you're saying like in terms of the link between COVID, this film, if there's been any challenges
Yeah,
to
but not just COVID. Like, sometimes, like for me, the biggest challenge on this project has been like David knows his world so much, which is wonderful. So sometimes that, like with the end credit song that I've just done, it took me like 6 goes to kind of get it right for what he envisages, which is it's great, which is great for me because I know that, like, for me, I've learned not to take it personal, and if I've come up with a first song, I can park it and perhaps use it for something else, but it's just not right for this project. But I've that's been my challenge, is like not taking those, because as a writer, I mean, you might feel the same. When you do something, you think it's the best thing. You're like, yes, this is the best thing I've written, right? And then Dave's like, can you try something else? I'll be like, oh. So like for me, this is that, like, and I completely respect that because he knows what he wants, and I really like that fact that he does know what he wants. So it is like it's not something. So you just got to keep finding it, and that's been my biggest challenge, because I've gone and I've realized that I can do that. Like, not to take it personal, and I can just change it, and I can adapt, which is great for me. So that's not necessarily a COVID thing. That's just more of a challenge for me on this project because I'm new to it, to write for something else. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
has there been anything like that for you?
Not drastically. I mean, it's actually kind of you mentioned that it's definitely that aspect of doing something, or I've just created this kiosk for this theme park, and then it needs to be changed. There's that aspect of going back and doing it again. It's I thought I'd done it perfectly.
Yeah.
Um, and then that it feels bad at the moment, but then at the end you're like, oh, actually it really works and all works together and all comes together. So there's definitely that aspect. But I think I mentioned earlier that one challenge was working with other people. So I've never worked
Oh, right, yeah.
with other animators, and if they need an object or something like that and they need it in a certain way, or um, one thing was because we have a few characters that are animated. Um, you basically rig them so you put bones on them and then you can move the bones and it comes animated. Um, there's that problem of converting it for someone else because they use different software, and I think most of the
Oh,
people on this project are using software that's paid for as well, and I'm not. So there was difficulty there of converting it to their software. So there's that technical
mm,
difficulty,
mm.
um, which I think I've got my head around now. But now
I
other than
haven't
that,
got my head around that yet, so well done for that. In terms of if I'm using Logic music software, and somebody else is using Cubase, sometimes it doesn't work, and I
yeah,
haven't quite figured out how to export it so that it works in their system. So I'm like, ooh, that's so well done for that. If you figured that out, that is a massive challenge. Like,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah, no, definitely. But no, I think there's ways of doing it. It's all
Mm.
it's all it has to be. So, but yeah, that's got my head around that. That's good. But other than that, it's just kind of allocating an amount of time and not going too much into it. Just making sure I have a nice schedule based around doing it, and actually having some time to do other stuff. Basically, not going full head into it and becoming crazy. So.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know. Do you feel like you've kind of built a few contacts, like with other animators and stuff?
Yeah, actually, I have. I mean, actually, the first week, I think I spoke to a few other 3D modelers and animators. I don't think they're working on the film now, but I've got their email address and I emailed them quite a lot. So and they work on that software. It's also been. I mean, I haven't. When it's just interesting to talk about it with other people, just to say that I'm working on this film as well, and it's all for charity, and so that kind of starts a conversation as well, which is stuff. Yeah, I've got a few contacts now, but not everyone I want to speak to, but now I know you as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've made a contact there, which is great because my sister has this really great idea, and an animation. She's got such a great idea for an animation. So I was like, oh, this is good. I'm making contacts for you. So eventually, when it comes in, when she gets money funded for it, we can do something with it, hopefully. But going back to Sleepy, I get sidetracked. Do you see it? Where do you see it going? Like the future for Sleepy, like having worked in it yourself, do you see it?
I definitely see lots of other adventures. 100%. I think I can't remember how many books there. I think it's like 17 or something like that. Ridiculous.
I think so. Yeah.
I see either all the films completed or some kind of maybe TV show or YouTube, character. So many ways it could go. So, but definitely films. The films is the foundation. Written and they're great. So, but then you can just go further than that. You can become a mascot and Sleepy the Magical Bear.
It really could. Yeah, it could go quite far, I feel, as well. Like there's so many different ways it could go.
Yeah.
Like, it could be, it could be. Someone said to me the other day, which was really funny, because they were like, oh, it could be a video game. And I was like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. But what a great idea. And I was like, oh, David, when you listen to the interview, they've got some really quite cool ideas about where it could go. It might, inspire you. So it's really like, I never thought about that before. And I was like, oh, that's actually, it has so much scope. That just shows you how much scope it has to go further. Like it is really, it's really cool. I've found the same. I've really enjoyed. At the moment I read it, actually, I felt like I could go into that world.
Yeah.
I could just see this world. Like there's not everything I pick up I can just see the world. But like I could just pick this up and I could see the world, and maybe it's because David writes so great and detailed. But like that's what I really was like, oh yeah, because I mean, how did you get on board?
I'm still part of this kind of 3D group on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Who posted, but they just said they need volunteers to help on a film.
Yeah.
David got in contact with me somewhere, so I can't remember. It feels like I've been working on it forever, but
for so long. Yeah. I know.
it must have been 6 months ago, 7 months ago, even longer. So.
Yeah, it's been a long time, isn't it? And goes all. It's funny because I remember my story so vividly because David was looking for singers, and I was like, oh, I sing. I said I contacted him and said, oh, I sing. I'd love to like sing some songs if you think I'm right. And he was like, oh, you've got a great voice. But he was like, I don't have any songs for you to sing. I was like, oh, okay. Well, right. Do you wanna? And then that's how that came about. And I was like, I'll give it a test and we'll have a go. So it's funny how I really remember that, because it was like I didn't start off on that journey, but it took me a different way, which was really amazing, because now I feel like I can write for other people.
Yeah.
Depends what it is. Like if it's really poetic and like has to have loads of subtext, not sure, but I think that it's giving me that confidence to go, oh, I can write for others, and like
Do
Um,
it. You can do it.
yeah,
Yeah,
like you can do it. Like sometimes you need the experience to know that I feel like to know that I can do it.
yeah,
So like it's giving me that. So
yeah.
it's been cool. Thank you,
Great.
Isaac. Thank you so much for being with me today. I'm gonna stop recording now.